We were going crazy. I'm 9 grand in debt. Our clients started telling us it was going to be terrible. It's probably best to, shut down the agency and kind of do our own things. We started stressing. Conversation went high. This is my story going from zero to $240,000 in less than a year. It all starts back in my sophomore year of university. This is when I was, just going to class per normal, just the basic things any student does. But after a few months in my first semester, just going to the classes, accounting, marketing, the basic business classes, because I was a business student, I started to realize, hey, I'm not really learning as much as I'd like to be at this school that I'm paying $20,000 a year for a business degree. Because the only reason I took business because I had no clue what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to run a business. The corporate world wasn't for me. I didn't want to be working a 9 to 5. I didn't want to have to call in to ask permission to stay home, to be sick, work on another man's schedule to make his dreams come true. I wanted to make my own dreams come true, and that was running my own business. So I took business at school because I assumed there's no better way to learn how to run a business than take business, right? That was completely wrong. I was hardly learning anything in these classes. And so I kind of started looking on YouTube to see, hey, I want to learn how to sell, how to market, all this sort of stuff that I know goes into a business. And so I come across this video of this bearded, jacked guy who I've never seen before, who you might know as Alex Hermosi. And I saw a video of him explaining how to sell. And I was like, holy crap, my mind had just been blown. I had learned more in this 20-minute video than I did in all the classes I'd been to since I got to university. And so this is when I realized, okay, if I really want to learn how to run a business, I'm probably not learning from the best people. So I started just watching YouTube videos. I didn't go to class anymore. Starting at this point, I didn't go to a single other class other than to take midterms and finals. And I just started watching a ton of YouTube videos on sales, marketing, systems, automations, how to run a business, how to hire, because I knew nothing at this point. And so this was my first semester of first semester of my sophomore year of university. And then when it came to second semester, I go up to one of my buddies who I lived with, one of my roommates. I lived with 8 guys, by the way. And so I went up to one of my close buddies and I was like, hey man, I'm looking to start a business here. Do you want to get in on this? I think we can really make some money with this. And I was talking about starting an agency. And then he was like, yeah, man, let's do it. So we went to one of our other roommates. We're like, hey, do you want to start this as well? And he was like, yeah, let's do it, man. So we started this. Just none of us knew what we were doing, but we started learning. So we would, go into the basement of our house, we turn on the TV, and we would just watch YouTube videos, all learn together on how to run a business, sales, marketing. And that's what we did for a while, just to kind of learn how to effectively do this. We didn't know what we wanted to do: copywriting, writing emails for people, making funnels, ads, whatever. We ended up settling on the traditional SMMA, running ads for people. And so we didn't really know how to get clients. So first thing we did was reach out to our old bosses that we used to work summer jobs for. And both of my partners, we closed their old employers as our first clients. One of them was like $300 a month. The other one was $500 a month. And there was a second part of the company that was paying us also $500 a month. So right there, in a matter of like a week or two, we closed 3 clients for a total of maybe 12 to $1,500. And at this point, we were going crazy because we had actually finally made money online, something that we thought was not possible, right? We didn't know how to go about it, but we had people pay us for something that, all full transparency, we didn't even know how to do. We had no clue what we were doing. And so at this point, it wasn't much money, right? Split between the 3 of us, it was like $400, but we felt amazing. And so we just kept going with this. And it was at this point when we first made money online, it changed my whole perspective. Even though it was only a couple $100, I dropped out of school. I quit my job. I went all in. I was like, we can do this with no skills. I'm going to make this work. So I need to make money online. This is what I'm going to do. I don't care how long it takes. I'm going to work until I make this happen. That was the decision I made to myself right there. I'm dropping out. I'm quitting my job. I can't stop until I make money. And I knew that if I just don't give up, it will happen eventually. It might take 6 months. It might take a year. It might take 5 years, 10 years, but it will happen eventually. That's what I told myself. And that's what I did. And so I had dropped out. My other buddies, they stayed in school. We were still working on the business together, though. It was summer at this point. It was about May of 2023. And I'm working all day, every day, just learning as much as I can about this business. I'm learning how to run ads, how to use a CRM, how to set up automations, how to even market, sell, all this sort of stuff. And I'm watching as much videos as I can, just consuming as much content as I can. I'm reading books about everything, just as much as I can consume, because I know that's the only way I can learn. And so we end up just, doing emails, DMs. I'm working about 10 to 14 hours a day. All I'm doing is cold outreach, cold emails, sending a couple hundred cold emails manually every day, a couple hundred DMs on Facebook, a couple hundred DMs on Instagram. And I'm just DMing as many people as I can. And my other partners, they were still working full-time jobs. I wasn't. I was all in. Outside of their jobs, they would be sending cold outreach, DMs, emails, whatever it was. And so we eventually started getting a couple clients, but we still had no clue what we were doing. So we closed the client for $1,500. It was $750 up front, $750 at the end of the month. We got the 750 up front, had no clue how to do what we said we were going to do. So we didn't end up getting the second 750, but we were still making money closing deals. So we knew that at least somewhat we could sell. We got a couple of small clients, $500 a month, $1,500 a month, $700 one time, those sorts of things. And then it hit July of 2020 or 2023, sorry. And this was when we had our first 10K month. I sent a DM to somebody on Facebook. She responded. She was like, yeah, let's do it. I want you to run ads for me. And then I started speaking to her, closed her for $1,500 a month for ads, $1,500 up front for 5 funnels, and $1,500 up front for a website. We just made $4,500 it was like a 30-minute phone call. And I was losing my mind. I was like, holy crap, we just did it. We just did it. Our first 10K month, because with our other clients, it ended up being just over. It was like 10.2K that. But then when we factored in after expenses, which was about 1,500, 2K, split 3 ways, it's like 2.5 grand each, which I was like, whoa, we just made 10 grand, but this feels like nothing. It's 2.5 grand each. And then at this point, it was coming near the end of summer. And so the other boys, they were going back to school. I had dropped out. So I was full time in this. And we kind of spoke and realized it's probably best to, shut down the agency and kind of do our own things. And so at this point, I still decided, look, I'm dropped out. I'm all in on this. I need to make this work no matter what. So I was like, how can I learn? I decided that, hey, I'm going to pay somebody, even though I have no money, I will pay somebody to teach me what they know to get to my first milestone, which I wanted to hit, which was 10K a month. Everybody's first milestone, right? That was the first beast I needed to conquer, was 10K a month. So I joined a program. It was 3K. I had maybe 1,500. So I paid in 2 installments. And then I joined. And within the first 2 weeks, I closed 5 clients for 1,500 a month. None of them were pay up front, though. It was all pay on results because I went in a saturated market. So I was like, how can I stand out? I'll charge them once I get them 10 appointments every month. So that's what I did. I had 5 clients in the first 2 weeks, fulfilled for 2 of them because I had no clue what I was doing. The other 3 didn't get them good results. So they would either stick with me or leave, whatever the case was. And so every month I was losing about 50% of my clients, but throughout the month, I was closing enough clients to make up for that plus some. So between this time from September to about November of 2023, I was making anywhere between 4 to 6K a month. So at this point, it was enough supplemental income to where I was a little bit of the stress was relieved because I was making more than I would have in a full-time job. My full-time job before, I was making like 3 grand a month, 2.5K, 3K a month. And so this was enough to where I was feeling confident. Hey, I'm making a good amount of money, at least at that point in time, what I deemed a good amount of money was. I decided to hire on some VAs to help me because at this point I was working 12-hour days, DMing all these people on my client accounts, booking them in for appointments. And it was taking so much time. I hated it. It felt like I was a glorified employee for all these businesses. I was just a big time contractor for all these people. And it really sucked. It wasn't what I was looking to do. So I hired on a couple of VAs to help me with it so they could take a bit of the stress off my shoulders and fulfill for my clients. And I was a couple of Philippine VAs. It was like $2 an hour for them. And so I was training them on, and then one would leave. I'd have to bring on a new one. They wouldn't do good. They wouldn't get results. And it just sucked. And I was thinking, like, how can I use technology to replace this? I was trying to figure stuff out. I'm not a developer or anything, but I was playing around with tools like Zapier, all this stuff to try to figure out how I could automate this to some degree. Throughout this program, who's my now business partner, Nick, he joined the program at about the exact same time. So this whole time we were communicating back and forth because he was running essentially the exact same agency I was, appointment setting for med spas. So we would always talk about how we're progressing, help each other out, all that sort of stuff. And we both came to the point where we didn't like working with med spas. We didn't like chasing cheap monthly retainers every month. We didn't like working all month just for $1,500 from a client because it just wasn't fulfilling. We were both working so much, so many hours for what didn't seem worth it. And so we kind of talked, and I was like, man, I need to figure out another way. I don't like this at all. I'm looking into this program here. I want to join it. The only thing is it's 15 grand US. I'm Canadian. So I was about 20K Canadian, and I had about $800. So I was in no position to afford this, but I told Nick, I was like, look, man, I'm going to do it. I have full confidence in myself. I'm going to make this happen. And so, by the way, that's one thing I think I always had right, was that no matter what, I had blind confidence. Call it delusion, whatever you want. I think that's largely about how I was able to make things work out. But I decided to open up a credit line of 5K, max out my credit card, and join this program. And that was only the first installment. I had to split it up into installments because I could not pay 20 grand Canadian up front. I paid about 10 grand up front, which put me about 9K in debt. And then the next day or 2 days later, Nick joined the program as well. He went about 8 grand in debt as well. So at this point, we're in this program, we're about 17K in debt combined. So we're working with med spas for another 3 weeks or so. We're coming up on, it's about Christmas at this point, and I closed another med spa client and she left. And then it was about a week period here where all my clients were supposed to pay me. And it was like a 7 or 8 day period where I would have been collecting, it would have been my first 10 grand month that I got by myself. Pretty much would have made back all the money I just paid to the program. It would have been amazing. And then I'm waiting. It's day 1. I'm supposed to get paid by 2 med spas. One of them, who I'd been working with for months now and got her good results, she ghosted me, leaves. Another one pays me 500 instead of the 1500, leaves. Another one just refuses to pay me, leaves. Another one pays me 1500, disputes it a week later, gone. Another one pays me the 1500 as they were supposed to. So I ended up making about $2,000 from what was supposed to be about a 10K month there, 10K 7 or 8 day period. And at this point, I told Nick, I was like, man, I'm done with med spas. And he was like, man, I'm more than done with med spas. I'm ready to leave. Let's try to figure something else out. So we're looking like, it's a bit stressful here because we just joined a program. I'm $9,000 in debt. Nick's about $8,000 in debt. We're trying to figure out what can we do because this was a stressful period. And so then all of a sudden we stumble across conversational AI, Air AI, and we're like, holy crap, this is insane. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. If I had this in my agency, I would have been able to do so much more. I would have been able to scale so much easier. So we started talking. This was about the last week of December of 2023. And we're like, this is a huge opportunity. If we could have benefited from this as super small agencies, big businesses would probably pay a ton for this. So we started talking and we're like, man, let's just see how the market responds to this. Let's run ads, just super low budget, and let's see how many leads we get, if it's good, if these ads even work, if people even want this technology. So we started setting up everything, working about, again, 14-hour days for a good probably 10 days, setting up all the automations, calendars, the ads, everything like that, so that we could have launched the ads on New Year's Eve. That was when we had set to launch the ads. And so we get everything ready to go. We set the ads to launch. Keep in mind, we have no clue what we're doing with conversational AI. We don't know how to use it, what it does, how to build it, how to fulfill anything about this. And so we're just running ads to see how the market responds. So we launch ads. I go to a New Year's party. Nick goes to a New Year's party. And I end up sleeping at my buddy's house. And I wake up in the middle of the night and I see, holy crap, we have 6 booked appointments already. The ads have been running for like 5 hours. And then I go back to sleep. I wake up the next day, we have 10 booked appointments in about a 9-hour period. And this is when I called Nick. I'm like, holy crap, man, you see this? We have 9 booked appointments. This is insane. And we were only spending $40 a day on ads. We were genuinely getting like $3 booked appointments. It was ridiculous. And this went on for a little bit. And so about 2 days in, we have no plan. We were just running ads to calendar, no funnels in place, nothing. And so we just hop on these calls with these businesses and we're trying to pitch them. We have no clue what to price it at because we don't know how much it's worth. We don't know what it can do. We know nothing. So first client, we're pitching 2K. We're like, man, we were charging 1,500 before. Let's up it. Let's be big dogs. Let's up it to 2K. So we're charging 2K per client. Day 3, we close the client for 2K. We're like, man, that closed a bit too easy there. So we're like, let's charge a bit more. We close the client for 3K. A couple days later, we close the client for 4K, then 5K, then 5K euros. And then we're slowly increasing how much we're charging. And then it was about 20 days in, Nick takes a call, closes a guy for 8K on the call. We're going absolutely crazy. This is when Nick dropped out of school and we went all in on conversational AI. We had just made $31,000 in the month of January, it was about a 21-day period where he had made $31,000. That was this year, January of 2024, our first month experimenting with conversational AI. And then we were like, okay, we called all our old med spas, ended everything. We shut down our old agencies. And we went all in on conversational AI. And at this point, we knew, look, this is a gold mine. This is like us getting into SMMA in 2016. This is ridiculous. We have to keep going with this. The demand is insane. So we did 31K in January. We kept working on it. We did about 22K in February, which is still way more than we did before, but we were a bit upset that it went down. And then March, we did like 12K. We dropped a ton. We're like, hey, what are we doing wrong? We were taking like 8 to 10 sales calls every single day. Super unqualified, most of them. Show rate was garbage, but we were booking like 250 booked appointments a month just because of how many people wanted this or saw how cool it was. And then we started deciding, hey man, I don't really want to use Air anymore. I don't really like Air AI. We want to add new features to this thing. We want to make it better. We want to listen to feedback from our clients. We want to just overall improve this platform. But we just didn't have control over it because it wasn't our platform. So at this point, we spoke to our one software engineer, Christopher, who's still with us to this day, and he's amazing. We told him, hey, we want to build our own platform. And he was like, yes, please. I hate Air AI. Can we please build our own platform? So he started front running our own platform. He started building it. We eventually brought in new developers to help us with the process. And that took quite a bit. I'll get into that in a second. But this was in about start of April, we decided to get started with this. And then April ended up being one of our best months at this point. It ended up being a record month where we did about 32K. So about 1,000 more than our previous best month in January. But this was huge. We did about 50K contracted revenue and about 32K cash collected. We were super excited with, man, we're back. We're back. Things are going great. Let's just keep it going. Let's get our platform up and then we'll keep going. And at this point, Air AI started falling apart. Our clients started telling us it was doing terrible. They didn't like it. They were having so many bugs. We started stressing. We're like, oh my God, our platform's not even close to ready yet. And Air AI is falling apart. What do? We just kind of told our clients, hey, look, if you want to leave, you can. We're making a platform right now that will be way better than Air. We want to make this as best as possible. Believe me, if you have faith in us, we're not going anywhere. We will get you a platform if you just bear with us for a couple months. And surprisingly, really all of them were fine with it. All of them except one, I think, who was understandably a bit upset because we couldn't give him what he wanted. But the rest all stayed with us, waited. And about a couple months later, it was about mid-July when our platform launched. And so May, we did about 20K. June, we did about 15 or 18K. So it was still not nearly where we wanted to be. And our expenses were adding up. So July, we launch our platform. We start our partner program as well in full force. We were bringing on partners before, but what our partner program was pretty much replicating what we were doing to sell conversational AI in other agencies so they could do it as well. And our partners started closing 10K deals, 15K deals, 30K deals. It was amazing. And then July ended up being our first 50K month. We did like 50.3K in July, which was a huge upgrade from what we did before. We have our free community at this point that's crushing it. We have maybe 1,000 members at this point. Our whole system's coming together. We have a couple software engineers. We have a big internal team. We have, a CSM. We have, setters, setting manager. Stuff's really starting to come together here as a business. And then August, we do like 46K. And then August was actually the first time Nick and I met in person. That was the first time we decided to meet in person. All of this prior, we'd done just over Discord, built this entire company, everything. We met in person, had a kind of celebratory weekend for finally getting to the point that we were starting to get happy with what we were doing, really enjoying this because this whole thing has been super fun. And then September ended up being another record month for us, where we did like 52K, and now we're in October now. So we'll see. October should be another record month for us here, but yeah, things are starting to really take off here. We're looking to make the best platform we can. We're actually moving to Miami in about 2 weeks here, or actually about 10 days or so, end of October here. And so things have really started to take off. And this is all because we made the switch from what we were doing before, which was a saturated market with low monthly retainers that we were chasing, with a good amount of demand, but an even higher amount of supply, switching to something where the barrier of entry is so much lower, like voice AI, eventually moving away, building our own platform to differentiate from all the other people who are selling other people's platforms, which already puts us in a huge league. And we set things up to where our partners who are reselling our platform are even in a unique spot than other resellers with other platforms, because we help them build everything and they get access to our platform. They earn money off the usage. We set things up so everybody's winning. And so our end user clients, our partners, and ourselves, as we scale this business, all of us are growing together. So we've curated a really effective ecosystem where everybody benefits. And so that's what Insight AI is today. And our goal from starting this company has been a 9-figure exit. That's our goal. We're not stopping until we get there. And you may think that's crazy right now. We're only doing 50, 60K a month, but I have never had a single doubt. Nobody on our team has had a doubt that we will make it happen, because that's just what we do, right? This is our plan. We're not stopping until we do it. Call us delusional. Maybe it is delusional, but we have that blind confidence in ourselves that we will make it happen. And so that's the goal with this platform. That's my story from zero to 240K cash collected in the last about 10 months, 160K of which came in the last 3 months. And so we're continuing to grow. I hope we'll do $1 million next year in 2025. That's the plan. I think it's more than doable. And I hope all of you can come on the journey with me. And so the only reason we were able to do these kind of numbers versus what we were doing before, because we were working the same amount of hours in our agency as we are now, but we picked a better vehicle, a better business model in a much less saturated market with much higher demand, much lower supply, to where we can charge these massive amounts of these businesses, 10K, 15K, 20K, 50K, for this infrastructure that we're building into these businesses. And the other biggest thing is we move with speed. As you can see, in December of last year, Nick and I didn't know anything about voice AI, but we launched ads to see how people responded. And instead of learning everything prior and then trying to sell, we sold to see if it was even worth selling and then learned how to do it. And that's how we were able to do what we did. And so you need to move quickly. You need to make sure you're picking the right business model, the right vehicle to use to reach your goals. And you need to set ambitious goals. 10K a month's a good goal. 20K a month's a good goal. Shoot higher though, because let's say you aim for 100K a month and you fall short. That might be 50, 60, 70K a month and you're still in an amazing position. So move with speed, pick the right vehicle, and you will be able to make it happen, as long as you decide to yourself that no matter what happens, I'm never giving up. Because if you don't give up, you will never truly lose. It's just minor speed bumps on your road to success. So this is my journey from zero, or actually -9 grand, to 240K cash collected. And this is just phase one, guys. We have a lot to come in the future. So I'll see you in the next one.